What program do you use?
Premiere. I know.
Okay.
I know.
You know where this is going. We saw you were on Sacramento's Fox 40, right?
Yep.
How was that?
It was great. Yeah, they were really accommodating, and it was fun to, talk about what we're doing. And I've been so buried in, post-production and working on this thing, and finally be able to talk about it and be a little bit public about it is exciting. Kind of stepping out of the cave of post-production.
Yeah, and actually, I realized I just got a bit ahead of myself. For anybody who doesn't know you, doesn't know your production, doesn't know the big thing that you've been working on that's coming out soon, kind of just give a quick intro of who you are and kind of what you've been doing for the past year and a half.
Yeah. So I was in pre-production for about 8 months, and then we shot August of last year, so August 2024 is when we started shooting, and it was about 7 shooting days. There's pickup shots and whatnot in there. And then the writing process has been about 6 years of conceptualizing and working on it.
Oh wow.
And part of it's because it was it's a little bit of an avant-garde abstract idea that really kind of took a while to take shape. And then we were in pre-production for a long time because it's a really art-heavy film.
Sure.
We built a bunch of sets from scratch, a lot of custom props from scratch. It was something we were really exciting about, but it was a massive undertaking to coordinate so many people with the art team and everything like that, along with the typical shot listing and conceptualizing all the normal stuff that comes with filming.
How long is the final product?
So right now we're sitting at about 15 minutes roughly, and it's a proof of concept. So the whole point of it is a proof of concept for a feature. We're hoping that obviously it's something that I feel like it's a strong proof of concept for something to be hey, give us money for something bigger, because I threw everything I had at the proof of concept to make as amazing or strong of a proof of concept as I felt like we could. So expended everything we could for the short with hopes of being all right, let's make this bigger, badder, for a feature. So.
And then was it primarily shot in Sacramento?
Yeah, we shot it. A lot of it was shot at Legion Studio. So we built our sets offsite. So we built everything kind of modular. So we planned everything out in great length, as far as how many flats we needed. We did technical drawings, figured it all out, built it all out so that we could transport it to the soundstage, rebuild it so that we could make the most out of the time that we had to rent that space. So then that way we're able to kind of do as much work offsite as possible.
Yeah, because when I saw some of the BTS photos from a while ago, that got me really excited for it. Because I saw just the fact, I was like, oh, that's a set. That's an actual set. This is a legit thing. Because I you see in our area, you see a lot of people posting oh, I'm doing this film, and I it's they're all of them are they're cool, but it's cool to see people in the local community. But just for some reason, when I saw yours, I was like, oh, this one, I like this one in particular. I'm very excited about. So I have to say, I'm quite excited for Mr. TV Man.
Yeah, thanks. And I think the thing is I'm, just like you guys probably are, I'm a film fan first. And when, I made the decision, so I had a no budget short that I did we put it out in 2023, and it was a no budget short. They got a little bit of traction. It's called Pillow Man. It was a really silly thing, but because of the response we got from that and being okay, that made me feel good about throwing everything at this bigger idea that I had kind of just percolating, kicking around in the background. And then my thought was, okay, if we're going to throw everything at this, why not build a set? Why not go the whole 9 yards? Why hold back on something if we have the option to really have complete creative control? And we got into the nitty gritty with my art director as far as the wallpaper, the paint, everything. And we did tests where we're okay, how does this test on black and white? So we took those color samples, and to me that's fun. And I think that a lot of filmmakers get really focused on shooting or production, but pre-production is fun when you really dive into it and you make it fun, in my opinion.
Mm.
Like, because I'm a detail person, and I'm like, okay, oh, it'd be really cool if we put, you know, these lamps in the bedroom. Like, I like those details. Not maybe not everybody does.
Mhm.
So that was the fun part of like designing this whole world. So
Is the whole film in black and white?
no, it's primarily black and white. There is like one color scene that's specifically color.
Sure.
Yeah, and it was really fun because we were able to really methodically like plan out like, okay, we're gonna use color for this, so let's really have fun with the color. So I think it worked well, but I'm biased.
Yeah, I was really excited when the trailer came out, and then I saw someone say, I forget what the blend of the movies was, but it was Eraserhead, and then I can't remember what the other movie was, but it did immediately remind me of Eraserhead. I think I could immediately tell. Like,
Yeah.
was there some influence from that?
Yeah, I'm a huge David Lynch fan. So it's funny, I've talked a lot. I think like really highly of Lynch. It had a he's had Eraserhead specifically has had a huge impact on this film, but more from an aesthetic
Yeah.
than like an actual like narrative sense. Because the thing I'll say about Mr. TV Man versus Eraserhead or even anything Lynchian is it's very you can follow the beats of it. It's not as abstract in the story structure. It kind of holds your hand a little bit more, I'd say. But from the surface level, you can see like that the aesthetic is definitely influenced by Eraserhead for sure.
No,
Yeah,
I could tell.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
And then just kind of going back to just like the beginning of everything, what got you into film?
Man, I mean, so I'm a kid that grew up, you know, borderline, you know, didn't have a lot of money growing up. You know
Mm.
what I mean? And for me, it was a big deal. Like when my dad would take me and my siblings to the movies, like, and it was just one of those things where it's like that was a treat. Going to the movies was a treat. Like that was a huge deal. And I just remember seeing, you know, some of the big blockbusters of like the 90s and stuff, like Jurassic Park, whatever, you know, like Indiana Jones, like seeing these movies, they just seemed larger than life. And I never thought that that was anything. It seemed like crazy because back then the path to become a filmmaker, it's like you had to go. It seemed out of reach for a lot of people,
Mm.
you know, back then, because gear and everything was so expensive and whatnot. But I was always interested in storytelling, and I actually got into it was basically like standard art. Like I was really into doing like comic book illustration, so I did art classes, whatnot. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go this path because I'm never gonna be able to make a movie.
Mm.
Like I don't have an uncle in Hollywood or something like that. So I went down that route. I got kind of burnt out, but I used to shoot films on a little Sony DV like handheld camera with my co-writer. But there were things that we would shoot for our friends, and this was like before YouTube.
Mm.
And we were young teenagers, and we would shoot them and we would edit them in camera, and then we'd have all of our buddies come over, sit on the couch, and we'd play these movies for them. And it was like a social thing. And we didn't expect it to go anywhere. Like we were just doing it for the love of like, hey, we're storytelling.
Mm.
We're telling you these weird stories, and people are laughing or they're, you know, reacting. And we were doing a lot of like really simple gimmicks where people like somebody would disappear and their shoes would still be there, something like.
Right.
And we're like, this is great. Just having fun with the process. And you know, I put that down for a while, and then when I reconnected with my co-writer about 6, 7 years ago, I was like, I was already kind of working in production, and I was like, hey, why don't we start doing stuff again? I have all this equipment, you know, let's pick up where we left off, you know, forever ago.
Mm.
Is film or working in video production what you do like for your day job?
Yeah, so I do right now I do primarily product photography and video work. I actually work for a magic company, Murphy's Magic. They're the biggest supplier of like magic tricks, so it's a pretty fun. I film trailers for like magic products and whatnot.
Sure.
So but I did, you know, I've done everything like freelance. Like I've done a lot of different things. Like I did weddings at one point. A lot of people have done weddings. You know, I've done, you know, headshots, all that stuff. And then, you know, I ended up getting, you know, this gig, which is which is a cool little gig that allows me to work in the space and keep my skills sharp. So
Yeah.
Very cool. And then you mentioned briefly, you did a film called Pillow Man.
yeah.
Was there any relation to Mr. TV Man, or does it just happen to be like a similar title?
They're so different.
Mhm.
Yeah. So the way that I explain Pillow Man is it's like Buster Keaton meets David Lynch in the sense, like it's a near silent film. It's
Mm.
very slapsticky, and it's very much like we'll call it like a punk rock film. It's held together with like duct tape and bubble gum. Like it was shot very guerrilla style, like, you know, bits, and it was something where it was just done to do something. And I didn't think much of it, but I didn't think it would go anywhere. And we sent it to a couple like smaller like festivals that were like experimental festivals, and we got a lot of people that were like, oh, I really like that, that was really fun, which was super encouraging, considered, you know, like we didn't put
Mm.
crazy resources into it, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you drawn to those more kind of surreal, artsy sort of films?
Yeah, I think like I would say that like I'm drawn to like the fact, to me at the heart of filmmaking is like playing pretend, right? Like
Mm.
when you're a kid in the backyard and you're like I'm a cop and you're a robber or whatever, like when you're just using your imagination. And I feel like one of the things about the medium of like filmmaking is like you can do so much and you can go so many places with it. For me, I'm like, why stay grounded? Like for me, it's like I want to paint with all the different colors, like
Mm.
so like creatively, like I want to like I want to get wild with it. And that's me. And it's like I just see a big sandbox to play in. And so I want to try and do all of the things. Like I don't want to stay in something that's very like grounded. It's just
Mm.
that's just not me. But yeah, I mean, this is just kind of my taste and kind of where my head goes creatively. So
Yeah, it's interesting because I also saw something you posted, I think on your YouTube channel,
yeah.
where you mentioned that the budget for Mr. TV Man was like 15 grand, around there,
Yeah.
more or less.
It went a lot higher than that.
Sure,
Yeah.
for post production costs,
Yeah.
whatever. At least 5 figures.
Yeah.
For a lot of people, especially when they're maybe more green, a lot younger, like people can't really fathom, like, first of all, like how you could spend that much money on a film. For
Yeah.
you, obviously, you wanted it to be, because I was gonna ask like why you did this, but like I guess you kind of answered it, where you want it to be a proof of concept for a feature and people to take you like really seriously.
Yeah.
Like for the same story. I guess my question in that regard would be, what kind of made you decide, or what made you think like, okay, now is the time, I want to go all out on a short to try to get the attention of these producers?
Yeah. So first off, it was the response that we got from Pillman. Again, you know, something I threw minimal resources at, really, and we had really good response. Again, a couple festivals, we heard back from people. You know, we had an actress from New York that saw us, our Pillman, in a festival, and she was like, I really want to act in something for you guys. And like little things like that where I'm like, whoa, like this is something I didn't really think much of. It was just something fun, expressive, whatever. And I felt like, to me, that was the universe's sign of being like, okay, like, you know, you you have something here, like, or you have the ability to tell a story, like you have the ability to tell a story that like motivate or captures people's attention in some way. And at the end of the day, like, you know, there's a lot of different aspects of filmmaking, whether it's whatever, lighting, whatever, cinematography, you can go on and on. But to me, the most important thing is telling a story. And I feel like if we're able to convey some story and capture people's attention with like not much, what can we do with more resources behind it? And so I just, you know, pulled the ripcord and liquidated my 401k and was just like, you know, threw it all at it. So, and that's where we are today.
Nice. I think that's honestly though like the move sometimes is I because the next film we're doing right now with you saw the poker table over
Yeah.
there. That story, it's just like it's basically like a couple gets kidnapped and they're forced to play a game of Texas Hold'em, and the odds are life and death. So whoever
Ooh.
wins lives, whoever doesn't lose it dies.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if that is too much of a whatever. It's not, it doesn't really spoil anything.
That's cool. Yeah.
But it's sort of a similar thing where we were kind of making it, and then I think at some point we realized that we can kind of just take it a lot further
Yeah.
if we just put a lot more resources into it. So right now we're like kind of doing some stuff that we haven't done in the past with our films, production wise.
Yeah.
And I think that like it's good to have a film, like you can do as many short films as you want, but you kind of have to have one eventually where you just go all out on and just throw everything you can at it to make it like, because I don't think it's like I don't think success is like random or luck. It really, I mean, a lot of it can be, sure, but like if you really really work at it, you can kind of get something going.
Yeah, I think so. I think you can some I think success is a combination of things. There is luck, but I think a lot of it's self-generated too. Like, you can really, you can make some noise and you can do things to like up your odds, or to increase your chances for luck and everything. And to me, I think the thing is like, I came up with this thought that was going through my head, and I'm like, how am I going to go up to somebody and ask them to invest? This was before I decided to go all in. And I was like, how can I go up to them and ask them to invest if I'm afraid to invest in myself, if I'm afraid to cash out and throw everything? Because if anybody believes in it, it should be me, right? And I feel like, I should kind of put up or shut up. And that's a conversation I had with myself, but I also think that, people really need to, it's a thing where it's like there's a balance where it's like, I feel like if you like ask yourself, is this thing, you're like, I really believe in this thing, I'm gonna like go at it. And I was really honest with myself, and I'm like, I'm okay with going out in a blaze of glory. Like if everything, you know, if this is like how I go out, or if I end up broke and whatever after this, but I still have this like really awesome thing that is like a true interpretation of what I'm trying to like convey, like I'm good with that, you know what I mean? Like and that's the only thing that like I think that I want to make sure that when I do talk to some people, I'm like, okay, like I don't want to have somebody be like, well, you did that or you told me to go do that, and I'm like, no, I'm not a financial expert. But yeah, I believed in it, and I was like, you know what, I'm good with this. Like I think this is going to be awesome, and I'm going to be proud of whatever happens. I think the only thing that was scary was like on actual shoot days when things would go wrong, as they do with production work. I was worrying that, okay, am I going to have the thing to show for my sacrifices? That was some of the moments where I had to like not have an existential crisis where I was like, oh my gosh, because I was like, I'm good with the sacrifice, but I don't want to walk away from this shoot with like, garbage.
Right.
And luckily that didn't happen. But that was definitely, those were those scary moments where I was like, felt like I was standing on like the edge of a cliff going like, oh my gosh. But weathered the storm, luckily.
And then you said you developed the script for, I think you said 6 years, right? What was the feeling when you first got on set after you had built the set and then you were finally ready to start shooting? Was that super surreal?
Yeah. I think the crazy thing is, and I've talked to my co-writer Jeff about this thing, because it obviously changed over 6 years. Like there's a through line, like a core element that hasn't changed, but there was so many things that kind of grew out of that little like nugget. But it was so floored by the fact that it turned out different than in my head, or like, because you picture like, I picture something I'm gonna, it's like you're already kind of seeing the thing you're shooting, and it's like it turned out different, and it's like, but in a good way, and it's surreal. You're like, oh whoa, like this is what this thing how it actually took shape. And now it feels weird to think about it in that kind of like past framing where I had it in my head. So it's surreal, but it's really cool because you're like, I think that's the one of the interesting things about this medium again is things are organic. Like the actor that you choose to be your lead may perform slightly differently than you had in your head, but it might be better. And then you're like, oh, they're adding their own texture to this thing.
Yeah, it's a blend of dozens of different people kind of coming together on something. It's really it is really weird to see your vision kind of come to life, because it kind of comes to life on its own. It's like
Yeah.
you put so much into it, and then it's really the rest of the people that are helping you that like kind of make it to what it actually is in the end.
Yeah,
So
I agree 100%.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
So-
excited. I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I'm excited for it to be out in the world and done with post production, because it's been like, it's a good thing, but I'm also like, I've lived in that world long enough. I'm like, I'm ready to kind of take a break and like also do something a little bit more lighthearted, because it's really heavy.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Assuming it all goes to plan,
Mhm.
is the next project you're gonna work on after this gonna be the feature version of it?
Yeah, so I have like a rough timeline that I've written out, because I'm always trying to look a little bit ahead, or I'm always trying to have some sort of plan for best case scenario. Like I have all the beats of the feature written out, an outline, all that stuff, and then I'm working on the screenplay. I put that down for a minute because I was doing too much, but I don't want to start pre-production until like next summer. So I want to take a little bit of some space, but that would be the next big project. Anything else would be like, fun little things. I've thought about maybe helping some other filmmakers around here. Like if somebody wants me to maybe like help produce, or like, work on some stuff, like, something where I can have like a little bit of more laid back role, but maybe help somebody see something through. That would be cool. But I think I need a little bit of a break from a big project, so I'm going to probably take a few months off.
Sure.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you do the editing for Mr. TV Man?
Yeah, I'm the primary editor. I worked, so Kyle Miller.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's helped me with a little bit of editing. And then I have a friend, coworker, that's doing some of the VFX, but I am the like bulk 90% of the editing is through me. It's what you got to do when it's indie,
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Well, what program do you use?
Premiere. I know.
Okay.
I want. I know.
You know where this is going.
Resolve. Yeah. I know. What's hard is that, so for my day job, we have the Adobe suite and whatnot.
Yeah,
Sure.
And so I'm so like just stuck in it, and I keep wanting to pull out of it. But I think it's hard because I felt like I've been on this constant conveyor belt where I'm like, do I step off of Premiere mid-production that's already in Premiere, and but I know I would love to switch to Resolve, because I've heard nothing but good things, and I also have no love for Adobe.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's the question we always ask when someone mentions they edit, and then it usually is either like, yeah, I use Resolve and I love it, or it's like, I use Premiere and I know guys, I know
Yeah.
I know what you're gonna say.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting.
Yeah, I don't love a lot of the things that Adobe is doing. Like I don't, there's been some controversy about them allowing people like access to their work for like AI, things like that. A lot of gross stuff for, as somebody that, we're trying to create original content. I think we all want to be protective of the stuff that we work so hard on,
Yeah, and also because they slap you with a cancellation fee when you try to, and like that's like the most demonic thing I've ever heard.
It's crazy.
They charge you to stop using their service.
Yeah, it's like a breakup fee.
Yeah,
this relationship's not working out.
Yeah, exactly. But I think the another thing too is like if you're familiar with it and you already know how to use and you're very comfortable with Premiere and you have it, like I don't really think it's like and like you said, if you're on a project, I don't think you should be like, oh, I should switch to Resolve because everyone says I should.
Yeah. Well, I think like I would like to not be as post heavy in the future, like on stuff, like on something like this. I'd like to like outsource some of it. Like I'm very hands on, but this, it was a lot. It was a lot. And I think I was really running on fumes like at some points during post production. And so like that's one of the reasons why I'm happy to wrap up, is like, oh man, I wish I had like more editing help, because I'm just like, it's a bear with a project this big, and you're just like, and you're so close to it,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, is your ultimate goal to be like a director?
Yeah. I like, my favorite thing is I love working with actors, and I love writing. Those two things are my favorite things. And honestly, I'm a film geek, like to the 10th degree. And so I'm beautiful cinematography, but I like when I can look over and check the DP's monitor and be like, that's great. Like I like when I need to have minimal input. Like I want to focus on, again, the performance of my actor. I want to focus on the story, the big picture of things. Like I don't want to, and also with other department heads, like art director, whatever. I don't want to have to get into the weeds. Like I want to go to that person and be like, everything's running cool. Luckily, my crew was amazing, and I didn't have to do a lot of that. But yeah, I would love to just be working on directing and writing mainly. Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of amazing crew,
Mhm.
is there where do you think I'm going with this?
I don't know.
I don't know. It just sounded like a cool segue. Where do you did you mostly get the people that you worked with from previous projects, or was there anything that you used in that sense?
Oh yeah, that's a really good question.
Like how did you assemble your let's say dream team?
It's actually wild how I assembled my team. So I honestly, the first real hire for my team was my art director, Robin Egan, who's an incredible photographer. I don't know if you guys have seen his work on Instagram.
I've seen some of it, yeah.
I mean, yeah, like, so what happened is, again, I did Pillowman. He came out, saw Pillowman, and we did a little local thing. We started to connect, and I looked up to his photography and some of the intricacies of his, like, kind of, he does little, like, sets and whatnot, things that I thought were incredible. He had a really good eye for detail. And, I looked at my co-writer, I'm like, this is, like, I want this project to have this kind of a look. So I was like, if we can convince this guy to be our art director, I feel like that's going to really get the ball rolling for me to be like, okay, green light, let's start getting the rest of the people. And then I got my concept artist Michelle Dahl, she's an incredible oil painter, and a friend of mine. And she hadn't really worked in any video production, but I think she's one of the most talented traditional artists here in Sacramento. She's been won awards. She was in a show in Paris or something this year. And she was just a huge supporter of what we had done with Pillowman and went on. And I was like, hey, we've got this really cool idea. Let me send you the script. Help us kind of create some of the look of some of these characters and conceptualize things. So it was just kind of like picking up people. And then Brenton, our cinematographer, DP, he was somebody that I had met through just the local film scene. And I just had a really good vibe from him, where I'm like, to me, on-set chemistry is really important.
Yeah.
And like there was something really like warm about him where I'm like, I feel like I could get along with this guy on like a 14-hour day. And so yeah, I mean, it worked out really well. Like I reached out to him, and originally I was going to shoot it on my FX3, Mr. TV Man. And he was like, oh, how about we use my camera? And he's got an Alexa Mini, and I was like, yeah, we could do that.
I guess we could.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. So I was like, yep, let's do it. So I mean, it was just those little things where it's like, looking at what was right for the project, and I was like, okay, we got my art director, concept artist, my cinematographer, and then the other pieces started to kind of just fall into place. Yeah.
And how many people worked on the film in total?
It was so. We had like the biggest day, we had about 16 people on set, but it was like 23, 24 people.
Oh,
yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we had some people like we had two different makeup artists. So we had one makeup artist that was there for a couple days, then a different makeup artist. So like there were some people that weren't overlapping too. We also had different boom ops because our original boom op had like a health problem and he couldn't show up. And I met Ed. So Ed showed up, and then Ed couldn't be there one day, and then that's how I met Kyle. Kyle came in and boom, did sound one day, and I was like, oh, like I like this guy. Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. Sorry, did I bulldoze your
you
conversation?
did. You annihilated it.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah. So I think that like it's hard to try to coordinate with 24 people to like get them, so it makes sense to like swap people out and have different people on different days.
Yeah.
Like we did that. Our last film had like probably around the same amount of people, just in terms of like cast and crew. And it was I would say like, I don't think we even really had like a fixed sound person. It was just sort of like whoever could show up that day. So it just kind of comes down to that.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask, how many shooting days was Mr. TV Man?
So originally it's crazy. Like I have a problem, and that problem is I'm overly ambitious. Like I'm like originally I had planned to try and get everything done in 3 days, which was crazy. It ended up being 6 days plus I'd say like at least a day of pickup shots. So you'd say roughly like 7 days.
Mm.
There's two, so I like front loaded the schedule. So the two heaviest days were like the very first two days where we shot all of Mr. TV Man, Ryan Damley's stuff, our lead actor. And the very first day I was like my AD almost killed me because we did 64 setups our first day, and it was wild. It was wild, and like luckily I don't like writing dialogue. There's some people that like are really good at dialogue. I'm not. I'll write dialogue when it serves something or whatever, but I'm not, at the other end of that spectrum is like Tarantino. Tarantino's like I don't know how he writes stuff like that, because I'm like, if somebody needs to tell somebody something, that's what I'll write. But Mr. T Man was really dialogue light, which lent itself to being able to do 64 setups, because a lot of it's like emoting or going places or doing things or whatever, or just like a simple line delivery to the camera, that helped us be kind of light on our feet. So
What was one of the biggest things that you learned production wise, like being on set? Whether it's like something that could help you be more efficient, something that could help you get a better product out of it. Is there anything that stands out to you?
Yeah, I mean, I would say honestly, even more pre-production, more pre-planning, more time to just kind of walk through things with people. It's really hard because when you're, like with a low budget indie production, it's hard to convince people to, when you're not, an unpaid day, like a pre-production meeting or something like that, be like, hey, please, like, come in ahead of time so we can like walk through some things and whatnot. But more of that, I think, is like, it would be better because there's so many little things that come up. And I think the smoother you can run, the better. And it's, I definitely, it ran pretty smooth for the most part, but there's things that I realized like were stumbling blocks that maybe could have been ironed out in pre. Even though we had 8 months of pre, I still think there could have been more to iron out those issues that came up.
Or are any of those issues things that you'd be comfortable sharing?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like for example, like having like our actress that played the creature media, that we're trying to be kind of like, or spoil what the creature is, but anyways, she was in like heavy makeup, and she's also a performer contortionist, so she had to be like warmed up. And so she was like in the green room waiting for her scene, and we were trying to shoot things, and she's in like heavy makeup and heavy costume. And so it was like an issue where she wanted to get out of that, and we're trying to get these shots done. And so it was like, a combination of like trying to schedule things correctly to get people in and out, so that they're good and they're in the right mindset. We didn't have a ton of that, but that was like a situation where in retrospect I'm like, oh, I felt bad. She was waiting longer than I felt like she needed to be, and that was maybe an oversight that I could have figured out ahead of time.
That always happens. I think that always happens though, where you kind of, because we did have a couple people in our last production where they showed up and they kind of did like maybe a couple things, but they did it several hours after like showing up. So I was like, maybe, I don't know, maybe we can figure that out next time.
Yeah,
it's just a lot of, but I mean, a lot of filmmaking is kind of just waiting around, and being wait to be told what to do. Even if you're directing, like there's a lot of just maybe not like you're waiting around, but you are kind of like, when you show up there, you have like a vision in mind of like what you're gonna do, and then it's sort of, there's a lot of just like not super involved times.
Yeah,
if that makes sense. Like there's a lot of times where it's a lot slower than you expect, but that's I don't know. I think that's like you can't really beat yourself up over that too much, but because that I think that always happens.
Yeah. No, I mean, I definitely learned some lessons for sure, but I think the big thing is just like pre-planning, like then just it is about trying to like figure out what could be a problem before it becomes a problem. Oh, and doing things like makeup tests, VFX tests beforehand. We had like a little bit of like it was a major component that was a practical effect that we needed to do, that was really important, and we really should have tested it off location. And it was one of those things where then when it came time to do it live on set, it kind of the brakes got thrown on, because it was like, okay, how do we do this? And I learned quickly from that, because then something came up a couple days later where it was like, oh, let's go ahead and test this in my garage, test everything functionality, make sure it's good. And then we ran into problems in my garage that we were able to fix before we got on set. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Why? So when did you finish Principal?
Oh, it was technically November of last year,
Okay.
November 2024. But then there was a lot of like little vignette things that like or like cutaway stuff that I did in January too. But that was a wrap on like the real stuff, the meat and the potatoes of everything. The
Okay.
rest of it was just like little things to kind of fill in some stuff.
So you've been in post for like 10-ish months.
Yeah,
Maybe a little more.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's definitely, because I mean, I have my guesses, of course, but why do you think that, I guess, for lack of a better word, you've been in post for a while? Like, why do you think this process has been taking a long time for you?
It's because the big thing with that is because it's really there. This is it's so I don't want to say non-linear, but it's a thing that I have to cut with my gut, with my feeling, and like, and it's something that I have to like make a lot of passes over. I'm doing also a lot. It's primarily ADR. Like it's primarily well, because it's a lot of sound design.
Yeah.
And I'm doing a lot of that. And I mean, if you go into like my Premiere timeline, there's 16 tracks of sound design.
Sure.
So, and like I'm going in, making passes, tweaking those, and in a week I might not like that as much as the week before. And then there's a little bit of VFX, things like that. There's some masking, tracking, things like that. And so the bulk of it though has been just really like cutting, sitting with it and tweaking things and kind of getting it to where like I can feel like I can finally put it down, because it isn't just like a really A to B story. It is dreamy. It's weird. It's so there, I have to kind of like use intuition. And so some of that, you can kind of like go in some directions where you're like, okay, I need to pull this back in. Like, and so you can go down a rabbit hole that maybe takes you the wrong way for, a few days of editing or something. So it's a weird process, but I feel like in the long run, I'm really happy with the amount of time. I feel like I haven't put too much into it, but I've put enough where I almost lost my mind.
Yeah. Yeah, it's also the aspect of like this, like you have a job, like you
Yeah.
have a family, you have a life.
I
Like
do.
you can't realistically dedicate your whole day to this every single day.
I have. I was typically editing about 2 hours a night, I'd say. And then I've got a teenage son, and a dog that's very demanding.
As they are.
Yeah. Well, he's 92 pounds. He's a big pit bull.
Jeez.
Yeah. So I mean, like he needs attention, and so that's the thing is that there's those things. Luckily, my son was a part of the production in some ways and whatnot, because he's old enough and he's into sound, and so he second AC'd a little bit, and then he's trying to learn some sound stuff, so he helped out a little bit. So that was good because it's demanded a lot. So, but yeah, so balancing those things with a job and everything, it definitely doesn't allow yourself to like spend 8 to 10 hours a day like some people would that have that luxury.
Yeah. Were there any, I don't know if days are the right word, but any like phases where you were like doubting the project, like, oh, I'm done with this, I don't like this anymore, I don't think this is gonna turn out well, I should just like give up on it?
No, I think it was more like just my mental health was like waning for sure. Like I was like there's a fly.
Yeah.
I was like trying to ignore it. No, there were some days where like my mental health was like from working on it so much. I was never really doubting the
It wants you.
I know, right? I was never really doubting the project because everything had turned out way better than I could have imagined. I feel like, so I wasn't doubting the project, but what I was doubting is like, can I hang in there? Because this has been such a wild roller coaster, and everything's been so like up and down. And and I have taxed myself out financially completely, so I've been broke.
Oh my god. This
I
fly
don't know.
really wants you.
But yeah, and so like being tired, being broke, having to do all this stuff, and then opening up. Oh yeah, and then also I edit for work, so it's like I'm editing all day. Come home and I'm look at the Premiere timeline. I'm like, oh god, like do I really want to do more of this? And so that's what was hard. It wasn't doubting that. It was like trying to find like a second wind, or trying to be like, okay, like I would have to like literally pep talk myself and be like, okay, I can do this. Like I'm gonna like I don't drink coffee, I drink tea, and I was like, I'm gonna make a cup of tea, like sit here and just try to sit there and drink this and just like get up the like almost force my hand to the mouse and be like, okay, I'm gonna work on this now.
Yeah.
It's weird, and it's like I wanted, it's like I wanted space from it, and so I'm excited to take a break.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's something I've talked about too a little bit on the show, where it's like if you're a creative, of course there's obvious upsides and downsides of both ends, but like getting a primary job in the creative space. Like for example, my job is I make YouTube videos. Like not for me personally, but I work with a bigger channel and I like
Yeah.
edit for him and stuff. And it's like, okay, yeah, I do that all day. When I'm finished with my work day, like, do I really want to open Resolve back up and
No,
edit
yeah.
more? It's like, no, I don't really.
Yeah.
And so like I've for a long time considered just like not throwing in the towel on that, but just like getting a normal job, so
Yeah.
to speak, so I can conserve all my creative energy for the projects that I'm actually really, really excited about.
I've thought about that a lot, actually, like where I'm like, I would love to do something mindless for 8 hours and then just be able to like kind of recharge that creative battery. Because yeah, it's like when you're putting out creative energy for somebody else, like your day job, and then you have to still find that energy to tap into for these projects. It is tough, and it's something I didn't know that I would experience that until I started working so much creatively for my day job. Yeah.
And then you did the sound design and the color and the edit.
So the final color grade is going to be Brenton, my cinematographer. Yeah. And then Kyle's helped a little bit with sound, just kind of filling in some of the gaps where I needed some help, but I've done the bulk of it. It's like, again, I would say it's about 90% me just grinding on the sound design. And then yeah, Brenton stepped in. He's stepping in to do the final color grade. So which I'm really excited about. So I don't even know what that looks like yet.
Oh, so the trailer isn't the final grade yet.
No, it's not, but it's influenced by discussions we've had. So it's similar.
Close.
Yeah. So like for example, like the short is bookended by 16:9, and then the mid section of it, the meat of the film, is 4:3. And so the 4:3 has got lifted blacks, like they're a little bit lifted. It's got a little bit more of a faded look, and then the 16:9 is a little bit more crushed, like a little bit more deeper blacks and whatnot.
More contrast.
And yeah, and then there's a little bit of a greenish tint to the midsection, and so I implemented that look in the trailer, but Brenton, I know, is going to do a little bit of extra spicing it up, I'm sure. So.
Well, it's quite the undertaking to do sound, because I that was our thing too. It used to be. I mean, I'm sure we'll change this up at some point, but it used to be like I would do sound design. Oh, the flies on you.
Flies
now.
on me now, dude.
The audio listeners have no idea what's going on.
So confused.
Yeah, that's quite funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. For context, we have a giant door, a massive surface area that's just open where flies can pour in and attack us. I lost my train of thought. I was talking about sound design.
Yeah, sound design.
Yeah, so I do sound design or not on the last one, but primarily it's like I do sound design and then we like split the edit and then he does color. But yeah,
Nice.
it's like I think that I don't really particularly love sound design. I think it's like it's quite a lot and it's
Yeah.
very time consuming. And I do want to just kind of offload that to someone who knows what they're doing and likes doing it too.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish I could, and I reached out to somebody to help, and I got a quote, and I was like, I wish I would have saved money for sound design, you know? But then, you know, this is such a weird project that I'm kind of glad, even though it was like pulling teeth with me doing the sound design, I'm glad I was so hands-on with it because there is so much texture I added in, and like, even though it was a pain, I'm glad I got to really finesse things to like be like, I really want when you're in his bedroom, like these sounds of like things in the walls and like, pipes and things like that. And like, I don't know. So, I had some control over that might have been hard without somebody, but it's a lot. And I would love to be able to put that on somebody else's plate in the future. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I want to talk about a little bit about the event that you're putting on for TV Man. Can you just, for anyone who isn't aware of what it is, can you just give a little intro about the event, what's going to happen, and like where it'll be and when it is?
Awesome. Yeah. So November 8th, we're doing a thing at the Colonial Theater. We're having a premiere for it. It's going to be a public premiere where we're going to show Mr. TV Man, of course. And then we've got 3 other short films, one from Kyle, one from Amelia York, and one from another filmmaker, Lucien. I don't want to butcher his last name. It's Telapia. But I'll have information on social media readily available. But so we're going to be showing those as kind of like an opener to the night, like because we wanted to fill it out and make you feel like it's like a little bit of an event where there's some different things to do. So you're gonna get those 3 films. We're gonna allow those filmmakers to come up and talk about them. We're gonna show Mr. TV Man, and then we're gonna have like a Q&A with the cast and crew, and then we're also gonna have a like little bit of like an art show where we're gonna bring out pieces from the set. So we're gonna have like some of the custom props and some of the pieces from the set, so you can actually take a look at some of the work that people put in, which I feel like is like a fun thing that it's almost like being on set and like getting to check out those props and check out those things, and it's something that not everybody gets to do, and I feel like it's a nice way to showcase the work that people put in from the art department, and then we're gonna have some live music too, so just making it a whole fun, like kind of come out, have like a little bit of a party, and hang out with us, and yeah, have a good time.
That's cool. Yeah, because it's also cool to like kind of highlight some other filmmakers too that are in the area. That's really nice.
Yeah, and we picked out 3 films that are also kind of this like weird, like they're kind of also a little bit strange, and so like we wanted to create this whole vibe of the night of just like weird, kooky kind of, and it's on the heels of, it's the weekend after Halloween, so it's like almost like extend Halloween with some weird stuff. And the band that we have, the Sugar Pushers, are like a kind of like a Halloween band that gets dressed up and does fun things. So just making it like a fun theme night, and also giving people like a platform to be like, hey, if you liked our stuff, check us out. And I'd love to help however I can the local community, because I feel like we've got so much talent in Sacramento that gets slept on. So yeah, that's my opinion about that.
Yeah, no, it's cool. So all the films are just like a similar vibe to Mr. TV Man.
Yeah.
So you don't give the audience crazy whiplash with like a super surreal film, and then it's like a comedy or something, and then back to another surreal film.
Yeah, like I wouldn't open up Mr. TV with like a rom-com.
Right.
Yeah, like they're all things to kind of get you in the mood, and then so like for this weird thing, so, and I feel like it's gonna again make for like a fun kind of kooky night.
And then also like I think a lot of the marketing you've done for Mr. TV Man, I think it's very well done, because I don't really, we've done I don't know how long we've been talking on this podcast, but I still don't really know what Mr. TV Man's about.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of cool though. Like I think I can kind of understand like the vibe, but I'm sure there's a lot that happens that I'm not even thinking of. But I think it's very I like how it's vague, but it still gets you intrigued.
Thank you. There's like a line that I've been pitching, like a tagline, which is for people that want an elevator pitch or whatever. And it's like, what happens when the things that we consume end up consuming us? And that's a good way to like frame it. And you're like, okay, Mr. TV man, you can already start to pull at those threads and kind of understand where we're getting there. And I feel like that thematically is very topical nowadays with our phones, with social media, things that we get sucked into that maybe pull us away from like actual human connection. Um, I've been in relationships where, like I'm on my phone and my girlfriend will be like, what do you do? And I'm like, oh yeah, like I should be spending time with you. And those are funny anecdotes, but like, we've all in some ways seen people pulled into something and you're like, hey, like what about like, the real world we're living in, so yeah, that's kind of a little bit thematically about it.
Was that like the main inspiration for it, or kind of like what inspired you to make it? Like for the themes?
Yeah, like in that feeling of like trying to like reach somebody and having a hard time like reaching out to somebody, like maybe that person that is on their phone that you're trying to talk to is somebody you really care about and you're wanting to connect with, and they're almost not able to hear you. And that's there's something that's like simple but also kind of like heartbreaking about that, and that is very much in the DNA of this thing. That was very much that. It's like that thought that kind of was like the seed that kind of turned into all this.
Is there a time period it takes place in?
The 90s. Yeah.
Oh, the 90s. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was there a reason why you chose that time period?
Yeah, because it feels familiar to me, like as like looking back, like retrospectively, like childhood, like, and I feel like Mr. TV Man, the character, is kind of this larger than life, and almost like looking up at him like a child, like a terrified child. Yeah. So but yeah, it's definitely grounded in the 90s, for sure.
Very cool. Yeah. Because I could tell that it looked like it was not supposed to take place. As a fly still attacking you.
Yeah, it's all right. It's kind of funny.
That'd be a good bit. We can like edit all the times the fly lands on him throughout the podcast.
There you go. It's just chilling over there.
We should plant a fly every single episode now.
Yeah.
To harass someone at random.
So, but you were saying about the 90s, or?
Yeah, no, it was just because I noticed just through some of the stills and some of the like general vibes, it like seemed like it wasn't in like the modern day.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the first thing I thought of too, was the idea of like the overconsumption of media today. I think that was I kind of could tell that was like the vibe you were going for.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting, like juxtaposition of like this 90s sort of aesthetic with this sort of modern, it's not a modern issue, I think, but it's definitely has a different it's very obvious now, I would say, just with how prevalent.
It's in a different box.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean I remember growing up, like people were I remember growing up, like people were almost like, oh, this fly. There was a lot of people when I was a kid that were almost warning, like, don't watch too much TV, like that was the thing. And now it's your phone, but it doesn't matter what it is. There's always that thing, bread and circuses, you know what I mean? There's always that thing, that distraction and I feel like as creatives, we feel that even more because like we're trying to make things, and there's things that are pulling our attention away. And so that thing maybe, that's trying to get your attention is that creative project that's like, hey, I'm over here, while you're, looking at TikTok, and fighting to get the attention where it should be.
Yeah. That's true too, is like you are trying to raise awareness about like over consuming something while also making a thing that's like kind of exists in that sort of thing too. So yeah, there's a very, very interesting
layered
conundrum.
Like an onion.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like trying to make a drug that stops drug addiction,
right?
But get you addicted to it.
Yeah, and then I wanted to talk about so our lead Ryan Danley was great, and I actually really lucked out with him. So he's a comedian up in Portland, and the way that I found him was, I just was like, I had the producer I was working with put together like a list of, I was like, hey, I want to look at comedians because I know that they're comfortable in front of the camera. Like I know that, and this isn't super dialogue heavy. We'll do a read once I find somebody that I feel like fits the aesthetic, but I know that a lot of comedians are like, they want to work, like it's tough, and so I got a headshot of him and I was like, that's the guy, and I had him do a read and he was perfect, and he just absolutely killed it, and so again, just kind of better than I could have hoped. So
And that was his first time like acting.
mm-hmm.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And but I feel like, again, that's where I was like, if comedians take a lot of crap from people, or like that is like a gauntlet being up there, and I feel like, yes, there's some technical aspects that are different for acting versus being a comedian, but I feel like one of the biggest hurdles that I run into is like, be comfortable in front of the crew, be comfortable in front of the camera. And if you can sit up there and like put yourself out there, like your bit as a comedian or whatever, and you've got that confidence, I feel like you can work with somebody that's got that ability. At least I think.
Yeah, because I've been like thinking of like just kind of like doing a little thought experiment, like, ooh, what if I tried to act? Like, could I really put myself in like a character's shoes and kind of portray that character at the moment? And I think I could, like psychologically, but like the thing I then think about is, okay, say it's a super emotional scene or something. Now I have to do it with a camera and like 7 or 8 people behind it just staring at me as I'm doing the bit. And I'm sure if I like actually tried it out, I would maybe feel differently and maybe wouldn't. And obviously the big thing with actors is like needing practice. That's why someone else that we've used a lot in our films, he does a podcast like full time. That's his main thing. And so one of the things that we talked about while considering him for a role, we're like, okay, would he really be able to act? Like, would he be able to take this character? Of course, it wasn't a huge character because it was a short film. He was playing like the secondary character. But one of the things that we kind of put in the pros category on the T chart was he is in front of a camera all day for his job. He is comfortable in front of the camera. He can kind of be emotive in front of the camera without kind of worrying too much how he's gonna look.
He's already got that confidence. Yeah, that's killer. And we actually had one other comedian who's local, Drew Absher, and he played a character, and he was awesome. And I was in the film. I acted, and it's such a nightmare to act, and to me, not acting and directing at the same time is a pain, because I'm just like, you're wearing so many hats, and I'm like, it's definitely not my favorite thing, but it worked out.
Nice. I feel like I could not do that.
I'm able to do it, but it's not my favorite thing, especially like, when there's a lot going on, like when, you've got, again, the whole crew there, and I'm trying to make sure that they're good. And then I'm, there's so many like moving components. And then on top of that, you have to be in the headspace to be like, okay, I'm in this character's head. I'm gonna do this thing. It's tricky, and luckily I got the stuff that I needed without it was good, and I'm happy, but I'd rather direct somebody else.
That's
100%.
I mean, I guess we don't act in our films, but we've done a couple cameos here and there just because it's fun. But like to do it for an entire scene where you have like dialogue or you're just in the scene a lot, like I think that would be definitely super difficult, because you're kind of also, because you can't really, if you're, because the cameos we've done, it's, for me at least, I'm usually like in the background somewhere, so I'm not really like seeing the performances of the actors. So sometimes it takes an extra couple seconds to go back to the camera, review the take we just did, and then I'm like, okay, let's do this and this, and then I have to go back to the same spot, do the same thing I was doing before. So it can be, so if I was doing that for the entire scene though, like as another character, then that would be even more complicated, because now it's like, you're dedicating a lot more time to not really directing. You're dedicating it to something else.
For like my stuff, there was one scene that was pretty heavy, and I really relied on kind of like committee of I'm looking at this fly.
Stay away from me.
I'm about to just eat it. I don't. But my scene that was like, it was pretty heavy on the acting. I relied on like kind of like a committee of like, okay, the people behind the camera that I trusted, my co-writer who was back there, and like my art director, people that I'm like, okay, you know, I can watch the playback, but it's hard for me to be objective because it's myself. Like, so I also want your guys' opinion of the take.
Sure.
And like, so they'll like, we'll get the playback, and like, I'll be, I might be really critical because it's me, but everybody else is like, no, that's really good. And I'm like, okay,
That's fair. Yeah.
I'm gonna believe you guys because I trust the people around me.
Do you have any festival plans?
Yeah. Yeah, so after we do the premiere, I'm gonna go ahead and just do the whole festival run. I'm not sure which festivals in particular. I mean, I know that I feel like some are a no-brainer, like horror festivals and whatnot
Sure.
are a no-brainer. But beyond that, like who knows? I interested to see what kind of response we get back when we first start putting it kind of out there. And then but I'm hoping shoot for the moon and hit the stars. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sundance.
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
Who knows?
I was gonna ask because there's like kind of three kind of distinct tiers of festivals, at least in my mind. There's like the local festivals, the mid-tier festivals, and then like the Sundance, Slam Dance, Tribeca, South by.
Yeah.
Like the mid-tier ones is stuff like SFIFF, like the San Francisco International.
Yeah.
There's like the regional ones.
Yeah.
Are you gonna try to like start off by submitting to like just the locals and then work your way up, or just like kind of start straight for the high end regionals?
I think I might start for the mid tier stuff, only because I feel like we have a really good like what's it called? There's a specific terminology for it. Marketing packet. What's it called?
Press kit.
Press kit. Yeah. Like, as far as poster, the trailer, I feel like submitting that to along with the film, I feel like is really gives it a leg up. And I feel like there's a really cohesive like look, design and whatnot to everything. So I feel like it's got a really good footing to be able to to hit with some medium festivals right out the gate. I mean, I don't know, that maybe that's being cautiously optimistic, but
yeah, I mean, there is also the aspect of like even just from what I've seen, it seems like it would probably sweep a lot of the local festivals, just by the amount of effort and the visual aesthetic and like the time it took to make the project. And it's not saying that it's not worth submitting to them or anything.
No, yeah. No, and I will, and I think more so because also I just want to support the local, and like even if that means like not like doing it as like a self-congratulatory thing or anything, but like being able to like go to those festivals and like hang out with like the local people that I want to hang out with and talk to and whatnot, because one of the big end goals with this thing, aside from it becoming a feature, is I want this to be like kind of like a big signal boost for Sacramento that like we can do really ambitious stuff here without outside help, without help from LA. And I feel like that's one of the reasons why I was excited to pull in the Sacramento art community within art heavy film, is because our art community and the film community, there's a little bit of a Venn diagram like overlap, but they're a little bit apart. And so this premiere, there's going to be a lot of people coming out from the Sacramento art community too, because Melissa Uroff, who did some of our props, Michelle, who did the concept art, these are like artists that people come to their art shows. So they're going to have artwork on display at this festival. So like, I feel like kind of merging those two things together to be like, hey, like let's build something that we can all kind of get behind and be like, look, like we have a lot of talent here. We've got filmmakers, we've got artists and whatever, because I want more attention here, for more funding, for more people to take us serious and not bring in help from LA. Like we don't need to. Like it upsets me that like that DiCaprio movie that they shot here that it was so much LA workers.
Mhm.
I'm like there's gaffers, there's grips
Yeah.
here, there's DPs here. Like why? There's enough people in Sacramento to shoot a major film here.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's stuff like that too. Like there's a couple features in the last couple of years that have been shot here, but yeah, it is strange when they come here and they're like, yeah, look at we're gonna bring up all our people from LA.
Yeah.
And we're gonna do a film in your hometown and then get out of here.
Yeah.
So yeah, stuff like
Yeah.
that's just weird. But
yeah, I mean even like hire us people like us on as whatever PAs or whatever scripty whatever like like I mean come on like there are people we have credentials enough to do like some of the basic jobs for sure like I mean it's just kind of it's frustrating where I'm like I don't like seeing that because again it not only takes away from the work but it also takes away from like that ball from moving forward for the future because like if more local people got hired for those things then it's a stepping stone then the next thing because then you're like, oh, I was hired on that last thing. It makes things easier.
We should all go to LA and bring all the Sacramento people to film a film down there.
Yeah.
And don't use any LA people.
Just be like, what's up? Yeah. Yeah.
You want a job? Nah, we already got someone.
No, we're fine.
Yeah.
Awesome. That being said, I think that sounds like a decent enough place to wrap up this show.
Cool.
Is there anything else that you wanted to add about the production? Anything else that you think would be a great takeaway for filmmakers?
Yeah. I would say that like the thing I would probably like wrap up to say is that just like I feel like for me it's about just I wanted to make something that I am a fan of that I'm like this is the thing that I want to see like this is something I'm excited to see and like with film with doing these projects when you're doing so much work and you're putting so much into it you should pick to do something that you're pumped to do you're fired up to do so that like you don't mind going through like walking over coals for this thing like you're like this is the thing that I'm willing to like fight for because I think it's awesome because I think this film should exist because nobody's made it and I think that like if you have that like you can like I mean I think anybody can do anything like if you have that idea and you're passionate about it like go for it and I'm not a financial advisor though so I will say that because I don't want somebody to be like I'm gonna throw my life savings at something and I've never made a film and I'm like and I'm gonna blame that guy. I don't want that to come back on me.
Sure.
So but yeah
That's
it just I think if you believe you can swing for the fences and yeah I don't know that's it.
Awesome. Yeah, Wes, thank you so much for hopping on the podcast. It
Of
was great talking with you, kind of getting some insights, kind of hearing more about Mr. TV Man. Speaking of which, if they want to find out anything about the Mr. TV Man project, anything with you, where can they do that?
Yeah, so there's MrTVManMovie.com, which is the website, and then on Instagram it's m.r.tv m.r.tvman. Yeah.
Perfect.
On Instagram, and then those are the two best places to find us.
Perfect. And then we'll throw both of those into the description if you guys want to check those out. If you want to check me out, I'm at owencar.dp on Instagram. Jake, where are you?
I'm at jcrossbell on that is my username. Yes, I'm at jcrossbell on Instagram.
That's correct. And then if you want to watch easily the worst episode of IndieFilm Insider,
ooh. It's the 10 plus movie hot takes, I think.
Yeah, it's easily the worst episode yet, but it's been on the screen for the past 10-ish seconds or so you can check that out there. And thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day.
Very nice.
Awesome.
Awesome.
He's not in that last episode for context. That's why he's saying it's the worst one.